Hello, my name's Andrew Brooks. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is all about a song that Paul McCartney gave away and then went to record it up north of England.
By gum. It were grim up north when Titus Salt built Saltaire for factory workers.
However, this video we're looking at Saltaire during the weekend of the 29th and 30th of June 1968. Now, Tony Bramwell of Apple fame remembers that it was a very hot and sunny weekend. In fact, the temperature reached about 40 degrees Celsius, and in old money that's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's look at how the song that we're looking at today came about. If you haven't already worked it out, the song was called Thingumybob, and although credited to Lennon-McCartney, it was a purely Paul McCartney production. So, about a year earlier, Paul McCartney and George Martin, they worked together on a soundtrack for the Bolton Brothers movie, The Family Way, and this included some brass band music. And Paul recalls that brass band music was a favourite of his dad's. In fact, he fondly remembers that his dad's band playing sort of big band, brass band music. The brass band sound clearly stayed with Paul in his mind because it's obvious on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And then in 1968 he was approached by the newly formed London Weekend Television to write a theme tune for a TV comedy called Thingumybob. It was going to star a British comedian called Stanley Holloway, and it was all about a sort of mischievous pensioner who got up to all sorts of schemes. And I guess it's a kind of like a last of the summer wine sort of program, if you've had the privilege of seeing that. And I'm unable to find any footage of this on YouTube at all. Any of the 8 episodes that were first shown in August 68. So if you've got a copy on video or on your computer, I'd love to see it. Just send me a little copy of it or put some comments below and I'll contact you, because I can't find anything about it at all. So it seems the origins of Thingumybob sort of come from an unreleased song called Etc., which Paul tried to get on the White Album and the band rejected it. He offered it to Marianne Faithfull, she rejected it, and so he reworked it and adapted it to fit Thingumybob and to be used for the TV theme. Let's go back to that sunny weekend back in '68. Now Tony Bramwell remembers that he, Paul, Peter Asher, Derek Taylor and an enemy journalist called Alan Smith, plus Paul's Old English sheepdog Martha, they all travelled the 200 miles from London to Saltaire, which is in Yorkshire, in the Apple Rolls Royce. Now can you imagine what it must have been like in the back of that car? Incredible. And they travelled up on the Saturday of the weekend and stayed in a hotel nearby. Now, a little bit of history for those of you who don't know the town of Saltaire. I sort of alluded to it in the title sequence there. It was built by Titus Salt, who owned a factory, a wool factory, and he built, as it was common in those days, think of Cadbury and Bourneville, he built a town which he called Saltaire around his factory, and so it gave his employees and their families somewhere to live. He built shops, he built a hospital, he built a park just for his workers. So he was looking out for his workers. But the thing he also built was this magnificent hall called the Victoria Hall, and it was sort of like the town hall. It's where functions happened and concerts were played. And just things like that. It was like the centre of the community. Paul McCartney decided to use Victoria Hall to record the TV theme, and it was going to be performed by the legendary Black Dyke Mills Band. This brass band has been around since 1816 and it's got 150 recordings to its name, so it is a massive thing up north. They are the National Brass Band Champions and they were based, yes, you've guessed it, very near Saltaire. Paul had also got driven up there for him, the EMI Mobile Studio recording truck, and that also arrived on the Saturday. Now, Paul and his entourage used the hall for recording Thingumybob, and fortunately there was a press photographer there for the entire day, just capturing images for us to see. Also, the band recorded a cover version of Yellow Submarine, and which Paul commented, it is a marching song at the end of the day, so it's ideal to get the brass band treatment. Now, there are some photos of some local girls with the musicians inside the hall singing, which would indicate that Yellow Submarine was recorded inside the hall as well, as Thingumybob is an instrumental, so it's common sense that Yellow Submarine would have been recorded inside. And then after the sessions inside, they went out to the street at the back of Victoria Hall called Exhibition Road. It has been reported that Yellow Submarine was actually recorded here, with the locals blowing whistles and ringing bells, making all sorts of din. So much so that apparently Martha sort of joined in the cacophony of noise along with them. Always one for a photo op. Paul McCartney borrows a cornet from one of the band cornet players, and apparently he was actually able to get a little bit of music. I'm not sure how good it was, probably sounded like a Boy Scout at camp, but he did manage to get some music out of it, and apparently one of the local girls commented, "You sound fabulous, Paul." But I'd love to hear a recording of that. Sadly, I don't think any actually exist. Now, I have recently visited Saltaire, just on a little trip up there during my summer holidays, and I have to say I'm very pleased to report back that I found very little had actually changed from 1968. I think the whole area is like some sort of heritage site, so it can't be changed. And as you can see from these comparison pictures that I took inside the hall and out in the street, very little has changed. In fact, it's almost as if sort of McCartney's just sort of stepped out of the room, but they have been presented and maintained excellently. If ever you're in Saltaire, go and check this place out, because it is amazing. It's lovely to find that nothing has changed. Now, it's interesting to note that a story has come out from this story that during their journey back, everyone in the Rolls Royce decided that they'd like to stop off at this little village called Harold in Bedfordshire, just because they liked the name of it. And in the pub there, Paul actually sort of performed an as yet unreleased song for the locals, and he actually performed "Hey Jude" in the pub. But I'm guessing that's for another video, another time. So, Thingumybob was released on September the 6th, 1968 in the UK, and a little bit earlier on the 26th of August, 1968 in the USA. And it also appears that the Canadian single has got the A and the B sides switched. So the A side was Yellow Submarine and the B side was Thingumybob. Anyway, unfortunately, ultimately, this single just flopped. It didn't even break the charts, certainly here in the UK, and I very much doubt if it broke it in the USA. Anyway, I hope you liked the little story of Thingumybob and the recording of it up in Saltaire, and my photos that I'd found from the internet, plus my own taken from like a couple of weeks ago. You may have noticed that up here there have been some links popping up. If you click on them, they don't immediately go to the link. What it does, it saves it for the end of the video. So if you click on it, you can then watch them after this video. Down the bottom here is also, or sorry, over here is a subscription icon. If you just click on that, you'll instantly know of any new videos that come out. I'd just like to say a big hello and thank you to all the new subscribers. We've jumped up a fair few in recent weeks. So if you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and, you know, subscribe, rate us and all that kind of thing. As I mentioned earlier, you know, subscriptions, you get to hear of any new videos. Also, let me know, and everyone else, what you think of this video and my channel. Just put a comment in below and I read every single one of the comments and remarks, and if necessary, and I think it deserves an answer, I'll answer any questions that you put to me, and you know, reply when necessary. And I'm guessing by now there's probably some videos appearing here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.